So welcome back to the second part of my gin commercial tutorial. This time I'm gonna show you how I edited everything. So I show you how I set it up in Unreal Engine and Blender and everything I used to create this spot.
Matto Gin, premium London dry gin. Every drop unfolds the complex taste of the mountains, with their spicy aromas of exclusive seeds, berries, and roots. Matto Gin leads you on unknown, exciting paths. An extraordinary drink, perfect for the day and the night. Don't let average describe your life. Be extraordinary.
So if you like the content I produce, I would as always love it if you leave a like and give me a subscribe, and it helps the channel grow. So now we start and dive right into. Have fun with it. So now we are in Premiere Pro and you can see here it's set up and we have the basic editing. This is only footage with the dry ice I showed you in the other tutorial. And this is the close-up with the probe lens, it's spinning around. And from there we have the transition with a zooming in effect. And we can see here that's the first more difficult one. We have those ice cubes in the water with the probe lens. You can shape the probe lens as if it looks like a landscape in the end. That's the effect that the probe lens can do. And from there we are switching into the mountain scene. And that's a little bit more difficult because this is a matte painting. I'm gonna show it to you in After Effects right now. Hey there. So now we're inside of After Effects and you can see here's how the ice cube scene and the little drop is jumping. Hey, bloop. And from there we are switching into this footage. This is a matte painting. So you're preparing it in Photoshop. I'm gonna show it to you how it's looking inside of Photoshop. This is the footage. It's made up from different photographies and you're just building a scene, a landscape. In every American blockbuster movie, there's somewhere is a matte painting. When you think about Marvel, all those landscapes, they don't exist, of course not. And that's matte paintings. You put the layers together, stack them in depth, and then you let a virtual camera fly through it. I made up this scene. You can see those are only for color grading. And when I put them off, I took this photo because I like the clouds in the background. I took this for the background, for the horizontal line. Those are the mountains I wanted to have there. And this is the sea in the front, the little lake with a little of a hill. And then we have this mountain here. I like that mountain, but it's too snowy. It felt too snowy for the front. So I added another layer where it seems like it's a little bit more melting. And we have this mountain here. And as a reference, I took the picture of the ice cube. So I can align it as well as I can. And those mountains had a different look, but I took the liquify tool in Photoshop and pushed them into position so it fits better with the ice cubes. So this is the Photoshop scene and I imported them. You can see the layers here. And now we have only this pre-comp. Here is the transition from 0% to 100% opacity. And when you get inside of here, you can see this is the setup. I'm gonna show it to you from the top. You can see there is the virtual camera and it's simply moving forward inside of this scene that I built. And here are my layers, and those layers are the fog from the side. You can see here are the layers, and you can see we're going right through those fog layers. If I put them off, it's losing a lot of depth. It's looking very flat because it's too sharp, too colorful, and that doesn't seem so realistic that there is nothing in the air. So that's why I put in this smoke layers, this fog layers, and that's how we create a little fog on the lake. And as you can see, there's a little movement on the lake here. I separated the lake and the hills with the mask, and you can see it's moving a little bit. That's because of a turbulent displace I put in there. So it's feeling a little more natural. So this is the basic idea behind it. That's a matte painting, and that's how I made the drop transition. Ooh. Here we are. Let's go to the next one. So now we're back in Premiere Pro. We discussed this transition. The next relevant transition is this one. The water is flowing up and we are switching to the next scene. That's very simple at this point because you can see this is only a mask. I pulled the mask upwards. Let me put it off for you. So this is the water rising, and I simply put in a mask that is going a little bit underneath, so we have the reflection from when you watch water, the water top from down below, you get a little bit of a reflection. That's what I wanted to keep. That's why the mask is a little underneath of this, and this is what came out from this. A simple and fast transition, but impactful and fun, I hope. Okay, so the next one we have is this one. This one is in Unreal Engine 5 and the bottle I made in Blender. So let's first go to Blender. And as you can see, this is the bottle. I modeled it in Blender and I put the label on it. Give it a sec. So here's the label on it, as you can see. And yeah, so I made the bottle inside of here to export it into Unreal Engine 5, and I also made the shaders. So I made the glass material I made in the Unreal Engine. So yeah, there's not more to explain. Blender is a free software, so if you think about doing more 3D, use Blender because it's community made, and that's why it's always on the top notch, because community is on the top notch, you know? In my eyes, it's most intelligent to use this one. And from there, when you are able to use Blender, then you can move on and try Houdini for some extreme particular and fluid effects or something. But Blender is great. Okay, so let's move on to Unreal Engine. Okay, so now we are in the Unreal Engine 5. It will be released 22. So I am gonna explain to you the setup. There is something called the Quixel bridge with Unreal Engine. So that Quixel is a website. They do amazingly strong photo scans. So they are making photos all around of a surface here, like a glacier, and putting they are calculating it, so you in the end you have a 3D mesh, so a 3D optic, and the material, so it's looking very realistic because it's made from realistic assets. And as you can see, I put some of those together also on the back because I wanted to have a reflection in the bottle. The bottle is right down here. Let's focus and not try around matching it. Focus. So the camera is in the way. Get away, camera. We don't want you here now. Okay, so here is our bottle, and now we are using this background. I made this hole in the glacier as if there was a little river going through or something that's frozen. And from this on, I aligned the sun and the camera in the front. And while I'm going through, you can see the movement. So the camera is going down on the bottle, and then it's moving backwards, and when it's on the back point, the sun is moving until it's going down behind the mountains, and this is our transition to night. So that's how I did that. You probably might not know, a 3D mesh mostly is only filled from one side, so from the other side you can watch through the mesh. So that is why I put those planes here as light blockers, so the light doesn't fall through the mesh. Otherwise the sun would hit the bottle even though it's behind the mountains. So this is the idea. Unreal Engine is future because you can do things like this in a day, and that's very nice. That's why I try around with a lot of my projects with Unreal Engine now. That's how I made this. Let's move on. We now have one left in After Effects. So let's move on to After Effects again. Now we are in After Effects, and as you can see, we got left this end shot. I'm not explaining you how I did the type where we are moving through, because I just put the type there and scaled it. for the fast effect. So that's all I did. Because I don't have depth here, because in the back they're all clouds, and you should never track clouds or trees or something, only if you want to put something on a cloud. Then you should track the cloud. But it's difficult because it has different movement inside of it. So it's hard to get a proper track. So we got the 3D camera here, and I can show you the mask. This is the footage how I got it from Storyblocks, and you can see there's the house in the front, has closed windows. And please, you awesome drone flyer, it's such a nice footage, but please next time don't walk around, or please stand somewhere where you aren't seen, in front of the house, or hide somewhere, but don't stand right where you're filming. That is sad that you're there. And it's a lot of work to repair this when somebody is standing there. It's how it is now, but next time, go away, please. Okay, so we got this footage, and I made a mask right around here. It's a very rough mask. It's only for the tracker, because don't track clouds. And this background is much too far away to be tracked. And we only need the front, so that's why I pulled this mask. And when I did this, only this footage was left. And that's where I made my track, my 3D camera tracker. I put it on there. So this is what we get. It's a little adjustment layer here, only for grading it for the night. And because the sun is very low, it got the feeling as if it was the moon. So that's nice on this footage too. And yeah, I put the grade. I mean, you see what I did here. It's not very difficult. The 3 curve nodes and a little bit of brightness. And I just put down the reds and the greens a little bit. And so we get this feeling of a blue hour. So that's right after the sun went down. Right here we have the house. The house was made, we had the tracker, so I tracked those elements inside there. Those are the windows I used. They're from, I think, Envato Market. I got it from a house. I think that was, I searched for a house or hut at night, and somewhere I found this. And because it's so far away, you don't need to have a lot of resolution. You can see it in my Instagram account. I put a little video how I put in the windows. It's a little reel to show. It's under 1 minute, of course, and it shows how I did it with the tracking and got the windows in there. And yeah, so I put them all in, and above those windows I only duplicated the layers again and threw a lot of Gaussian blur on it, 1004 Gaussian blur, to get this effect. So the windows are a little bit glowy, so it's looking more like night. And you should never forget that if it's night, there's reflections. So without the reflection, this wouldn't be looking very realistic. So that's why I made the reflections in there too. And yes, that's how I made this end shot. That's it from me right now. I know it's a lot of software that I'm using, but I'm more the mixed media guy, so sorry for that, but I hope you learned something. And as I said at the beginning, it would be awesome if you leave a like and subscribe maybe. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. I will answer them as soon as I can. So thanks for watching, and I hope we meet again in the future. Bye.